Hello, I've got another book review. Just like the last one, I have wrote a script for this, but I also know where the book is. Apothecary Diaries was a brilliant read from start to finish. I am going to be keeping an eye out online to see if I can get one for a bit cheaper because I literally read this the same day that I also read the entirety of The Good School, Good and Evil. I think I read 4 books in one day. It's to be buying these at full price isn't really sustainable for me. But yeah, if you see my eyes darting off the screen, it's because I've got a script here. It helps me collect my thoughts. There's a lot going on upstairs for me. But yeah, we'll get into before I do get into the review. I just want to say that this will contain spoilers for the book. So if you are someone who's looking for a spoiler-free review, this is not it. There will be spoilers, so maybe come back after you've read it, or just, this is not a spoiler-free zone. I like to talk about the details of the book. So yeah, right off the bat, the front cover, absolutely gorgeous. I also like the back cover design. Just the quality of the book as well, like the paper that it's on, it's beautiful. Like, this book itself is just beautiful. I also like how on the back, if I just show you, Square Enix. So Square Enix is one of my all-time favourite studios for video games as well, so that told me everything I needed to know really before buying this book and as to whether I was going to get it or not. And for those of you who are perhaps wondering why is the book backwards, it's because in Japan they tend to read back to front because of how the Japanese language is wrote. So whereas we might read the book, that way, it's the reverse way for the Japanese. So when it came to translating, because the book was originally in Japanese, English translation, they kept the style, but they translated the language, so we could understand it and read it. But yeah, so today we're just gonna, it's a bit different, but again, I digress. It was a book I've been looking into for quite a while, and when I saw it in the Waterstones that I went to, I had to pick up a copy because I've been dying to read this series for like quite a while now. So quick overview of the manga. The Apothecary Diaries kept popping up on my For You page on TikTok as well, like I just quickly mentioned, so I grabbed it. Our protagonist, who we see on the front here, Maomao, is a sharp-witted, clever girl who unfortunately gets kidnapped and sold as a slave. So yeah, I didn't expect that, but that was a very interesting start to the book, because it's like, oh, so that's how she's ended up in the palace, not grown up there, which is unusual, but okay. She's got some character development right off the bat. But she's not just a regular servant, not a male, nope. She's got a vast knowledge of nerves. It wouldn't be the Apothecary Diaries if she wasn't in the field, would it? There's going to be an apothecarist? Apothecary? I don't know what the exact term is. I've forgotten. It means she makes medicines out of these herbs and stuff that are in the palace and stuff. And unfortunately, because of her knowledge, she's also one of the girls that can read in her lower end of the court. She gets picked up for it because she can't keep her nose away from the mystery. Kind of like me. You just need to know the answers to everything. If you love mystery, history, China, character, romance, character development and a splash of forbidden romance, then this book is definitely one that you're going to want to pick up. So I'm just going to scroll down so I can see what I've wrote here. So Maomao is, right, I'm back now. Where were I? She's fierce, Maomao. She's fierce, she's independent, and she likes being left to her own devices. She doesn't like people interrupting when she's working on something. She acts like an outsider. She knows and doesn't plan on fitting into the mold of the traditional princess. She's not a princess, but she will always be our princess. It's one of those. She's practical and resourceful in quite some unusual ways. That comes with the field of being an apothecary. And unfortunately for our girlie who just wants to be left alone, she's got an unusual set of skills. She's in the lower class of servants, and it stands out that she not only does she read and understand and can also write, she's really knowledgeable, and it's very difficult to blend in really when you're that level smart amongst people who don't and can't and are just illiterate. I absolutely love how her backstory unfolds. She didn't want into the palace by chance. She wasn't whisked by some blushing prince, or she wasn't put into a marriage. She just character development, unfortunately. She was worried about her father at home, and we get a slow introduction to how she wound up in the palace and how she can use her skills and how she has developed her skills over the years. She's got this sharp, no-nonsense attitude. She's mysterious and guarded, but she's also got this really nerdy side. I haven't really encountered that trope too often in reading, so it was really, really nice to have this heroine here who is all of those things in one. I know in some ways it sounds a bit OP. It didn't read like it was an overpowered. It felt, she felt she couldn't do much. She felt quite often like she was struggling with who she was throughout the book. She's mysterious, she's guarded. I just love seeing smart female protagonists. I don't feel like we get a lot of them, especially when it's like in books like these where they aren't just a girl that just exists, when they've got something like a bit more of a story to them. I do enjoy learning new things myself too. In some ways she kind of reminds me of Senku from Dr. Stone, if any of you guys have heard of that series. But it's a girl. Brilliant. I need more characters like this. I need to see more characters like this personally. One of the things I loved about her character is her interactions with the people around her. So she's constantly observing everything around her, but also trying to influence what's happening around her and help people out. She doesn't like sitting idly on the sidelines. She has to have a part. And her decisions impact the people around her as well. It's not just like, oh, this happened and oh, she actively has a hand in helping people around her. Oh, I've lost my page. And then we get introduced to a man. Now, I don't know, but it keeps getting suggested to me that it was a forbidden romance but the beginning of it and her introduction to him. I felt the same way as she did about this man. I was like, don't want anything to do with you, don't want to talk to you, don't want to know more about you. You keep popping up and just being a downright nuisance. But apparently that is something that we're going to see develop in the future books, which I'm a little bit... I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like I've judged this guy really quickly. He's really carefree, he's a high-ranking dude, and I didn't like him. I didn't like his character. He wasn't necessarily nasty or anything, I just did not like his character. But apparently that's also going to lead to some very interesting forbidden love. And it is hinted at as well throughout, but I'm just not as quick to it. It was people that were explaining it to me because I read this book, and I think in part it's probably good that I didn't pick up on it if it was hinted in the book, because I probably would have hated his character all the more so. But that's also another good thing, that it doesn't feel like they have to and they will be. Whereas in a lot of books with strong female leads, we do unfortunately see you are going to get married and that's all your life's going to be. And I don't think we're going to have that with Mao, but I'm also curious how this is going to work out, because the boy that we are introduced to is very high ranking and she is not so high ranking. And I'm pretty sure that it's not even just like forbidden love, it's how is that going to work out, because he's kind of like the advisor, but not an advisor, but also an advisor to the emperor in this book. And Mao doesn't like him. Putting it lightly, she doesn't like him, and I don't like him, and I love that for her, and I love that for me. They're not enemies, but she's also not going to be swept off her feet by some man. And Mao, Mao knows the rules of the court, and she seems to be the only person who doesn't like him. She's not. I hated him too. There's this promise of forbidden love, and there's like this weird layer that's just complex, and it's just, I want to know what it's going to be. I don't understand it myself. My mates have tried explaining it to me. I guess the only thing that I can really do is wait to see how it develops in other books, The author knew what they were doing. The author knew their audience with this. I love slow burn romances. I suspect it's going to be one of those as well. Whether it will, we will see. We will see. He's definitely interested. I definitely did catch wind of him having some interest because he seemed really offended that she didn't think he was this amazing thing. I just love it when guys get really upset over stuff like that, though, in books. I really love that. I don't, because it's always the guy as the alpha, and I'm so sick of that trope in books. I am so sick of that trope. I don't want to read it, I don't want to see it, it made me fall in love with her character all the more so. I'm not sure if I want the romance to play out or if I wanted to continue rebuking him. I'm curious to see how the situation in the story will develop, as well as what portions she's going to continue developing, and if she comes up with any inventions of her own over the years. It's called the Apothecary Diaries, so I'm hoping and praying that that's what we're going to see happen. I would love to see her skills grow. I'm very curious what the limits of her knowledge are. I'm very curious what she's learned. I'm very curious, I want to learn with her. It feels like one of those books you get to learn with the character, which I absolutely love that, because it feels like you're part of the world without it being a insert, you're in the story, but it feels like you're growing with her. Beyond her character and the potential romance, the book itself is just packed with mystery. Her knowledge of herbs and medicine allows us to solve problems and uncover his different secrets in the palace. Not sure how I feel about someone on her level being able to solve stuff. I was very intrigued by that. I'm like, what's this palace going to do about her? Like, what would the palace do about her? The pacing of the book was quite humorous. It kept me engaged. There was a lot of twists and unexpected events. It helped the world feel more fleshed out to me. And in terms of development, it's a great start for a book. I think it's got a book that has a lot of promise for the first book of a series. So many questions. I have a feeling that here we go, story by Natsu Hyuuga. I hope I'm saying that right. But I have a feeling we can expect a lot of great detail from this book series. It's got rich world building, it's got multi-layered characters. We've got this unpredictable heroine here who just keeps finding trouble and mystery. The more unpredictable the heroine, the more I want to read. If you know any other stories of similar characters, I'd love to know. I love reading Uncovering New Worlds, and this one was a great start for a series if I've ever read one, kind of like the other one that I'm also reading for at the moment. The hints of forbidden romance, the introduction to the, not necessarily introduction, but the way that they've weaved and put details about the Chinese culture and different society levels and how they just seeing how everyone interacts with that was brilliant. It mixes everything together. So you've got medicine, you've got historical fiction with a female lead, you've got romantic tension, which I didn't necessarily see, but people keep telling me it was there. We will see. We will see. Hopefully I can understand what everyone's been going on about in the next few books. The only thing I really saw was her not liking him and him just being like, ugh. Someone doesn't like me, how rude. But yeah, I want to know more, Mao. I want to know more about your life. It's refreshing to see as well how a character develops, and I'm curious to see how this world is going to further develop as well. Do you like Mao's character? Did someone else in the series? Did you like someone else? We know my thoughts on the dude. Did you like him? I'm curious. I love hearing other people's opinions on books that I've read. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more to see more reviews, because I will hopefully be working through this series. But yeah, until next time, enjoy reading.